For those of you guys that don't know me, I'm Cody Owen. I'm the owner of Owen-a-Doodle here just right outside of Seattle, Washington. And today I'm actually going to be going over puppy evaluations, a little bit of a background on it, some details, and some information for those of you looking to either understand it more, or for those of you who have actually put a deposit down on one of our puppies and are going to be picking here within the week, which I'm really excited about. So it's really cool that we've come to this place. Puppy evaluations are something that's really, really cool. They're very dear and tender to my heart because really what it does is it allows us to give our puppies a voice. So when a family comes to us or if somebody is looking specifically for a dog, we can communicate, and it can be a partnership within me having the voice for our puppies, for our Goldendoodles, and then you guys get the chance to say what your lifestyle is, and we get to kind of run in combination. So a couple different things. Obviously, this is just my interpretation of this. Everybody's going to have their own interpretation, and all things can have mistakes. We're humans, right? But it is my goal to do the best of my ability. I've had training in this specifically, and so I do the best of my, to the best of my ability. I do this as accurate as possible because I want success in each one of my puppy placements. So first things first, as we go through this test, to just remember that there is no perfect puppy. People will sometimes ask me, like, which puppy is your favorite? Which puppy would you choose? And one thing to remember is that the puppy that I would choose that's perfect for me is not always the puppy that you need and that might be perfect for you. We kind of run on this old school philosophy of like first pick, right? Well, first pick for you is different than first pick for me. And first pick a lot of the times goes back to old school breeding where people would pick based on looks and sex alone. And so because we do things different, because we pick based on temperament and personality, energy level, things like that, even though it might be a first pick for you, it's not a first pick for somebody else, which is really, really great. So anyhow, there's that. Another thing is I don't choose a puppy for you. I know there's a lot of breeders out there that say this is the puppy that you're going to get. And I just believe in more communication than that. I believe in working at it as a partnership. I believe in communicating what my puppy needs, and then you also communicating what you need. And so I really believe that as much as I have the ultimate say, right? I don't think I'm going to probably ever place the puppy with high energy to somebody who's a couch potato and literally stays at home and doesn't do anything and, stuff like that. So ultimately I do have a say, but I want it to be a decision that you come to as well. I want to make sure that you have ownership in that decision and deciding like, okay, this is a really great puppy for me. I do choose this puppy for my family or for myself. So there's those things. Another thing that I wanted to go over with is stable traits and adjustable traits. Now, when we're talking about personality and temperament assessments, you will hear people say that it's all hogwash. It's all just junk. None of it matters. And I just don't believe it. You can have certain opinions and that's their decision. But for me personally, I believe that this is huge. I believe that it absolutely matters. And I've seen time and time again, people placed with dogs from different breeders or from different places. And they end up saying like, what's wrong with my puppy? My puppy's broken. It doesn't want to do anything. And it's got low energy. Or I've heard people say, oh my gosh, this dog is eating everything. It's chewing on the furniture. It's this, it's that, it's this. And really what it is the fact that the dog just needs more stimulation because it has higher energy, right? Or stuff like that. And so it's good for us to understand, like, what are things that are stable? What are things that are literally ingrained within the puppy's DNA and genetics? And then what are adjustable traits? What are things that we can change, right? What are things that we can mold and influence in our dogs? And so it's good to know that those are there. You can take a puppy that is, maybe really super tenderhearted. Tenderhearted is one of the things we test with, for. you can take a puppy that's really tenderhearted and maybe a little bit more intimidated by things. You can place them in a home that's empowering. You can place them in a home that has different socializations with this dog that allows this dog to build confidence. And in a couple months, this dog, you would never have known that the pup is really tenderhearted and was really, more on the shy side and stuff before, because they've turned into a completely social dog. You can also take a dog that is neutral to dogs, that doesn't absolutely love dogs but doesn't want to be alpha either, but it's just neutral, give or take. You can put them in a situation where they get attacked by a dog, and you can turn them into a fearful, more aggressive dog towards other dogs, right? So we know that these things are moldable. So the stable traits are, they are kind of, it is what it is. There's not a lot of movement. Of course, there can be movement in training, right? We know this in training. But there's some things that are so ingrained within a dog that it doesn't matter what we do, it's there, right? For example, one of them is prey drive. I tell this story. My family, I grew up raising Labradors, and one time I grew up on a hobby farm, and so one morning we ended up getting 150 butcher chickens, little tiny chicks. Pull your ears and go la 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 if you're sensitive to stuff like this. But we put them in the chicken coop, and we went to church, and when we came home, my mom thought somebody had played a joke on us because every single one of the chicks were gone. They were missing. Well, it turns out that our lab broke into the chicken coop and ate every single one of those 150 chicks. Gone. Like that. Feathers, bones, the whole thing, gone. They were all gone. And so obviously high prey drive in that dog, right? And so that is a stable trait. Prey drive is a stable trait. That there's a saying, it's like, if you're not there, right, so we can train, right, and we can control it a little bit, but if you're not there, the squirrel's going down, right? So there's that kind of a joke. Human assertiveness, obviously, again, there's always training, right? We can always do training, but both human and dog assertiveness within your puppy is a stable trait. They either are submissive or assertive, one of the two. This is the assertiveness. Human assertiveness is, whether a dog sees your child with a piece of pizza and stares at the dog, that's low assertiveness. They stare at they stare at your child with a piece of pizza, and they just wait for the pizza to drop before they go over and get it. That's low human assertiveness. Mid human assertiveness is the dog that stares looking at your child with a piece of pizza, slowly creeping towards your child, and then will slowly take the piece of pizza from their hands. High human assertiveness is the dog looks at your child, sees a piece of pizza, and he's like, why do you have my piece of pizza? And he goes over and he takes your piece of pizza, okay? So that's kind of my description of high human assertiveness. Now, obviously, we can train our dogs, right? And you should, already have in place, how am I going to train my puppies? How am I going to do this? What classes am I going to take? Am I going to have a trainer come over, right? Like, what is our plan when it comes to training? But that's human assertiveness, okay? Motivation, okay, so this is motivation. This is like the desire to work for humans. Now, motivation is kind of like love languages. I'm not sure if you're familiar with love languages or not, but we all feel love in a different way. And when it comes to a dog and their motivation is kind of like their love language. What makes them tick? What is their motivation to work for you, okay? Sometimes it's food, right? Treats. Sometimes it's affection. And so it's figuring out what your motivation is with your dog. Sometimes this is loyalty. Sometimes that motivation is built on being loyal to you. Now, they might not be loyal to Sue down the road. That's your neighbor that's over all the time, but they're loyal to you, right? And so figuring out that motivation level. Motivation level on the low end is essentially saying that your puppy doesn't really have a lot of motivation to work for. They're kind of in a what's in it for me? Why would I do this? I don't really understand why you want me to do this. Middle is interest. They have interest to work for you, but they're easily distracted and they go off and they kind of do your own thing. And then high motivation level is where a dog is, they want nothing more than to please you. What can I do for you? you. Okay, you want me to do this? Okay, I'll do this. And even sometimes in the test, you'll see dogs maybe not actually accomplish it, but they try. They keep trying, which is the desire to work, okay? So knowing that is that. And sometimes it increases over loyalty and just knowing, because obviously this test is done by an independent tester that is not known to the dog, right? The puppies, they don't know this tester. Okay, so that's the next one that is a stable. Next one is energy level. Okay, energy level is one of my favorite things to test for, because I feel like this one is one of the number one frustrations in a family. When they get this puppy and, the puppy's just literally nonstop bouncing off the walls, high energy, right? Or middle energy, they go for a little bit, but then they also lay down and they calm down. And then low energy, the puppy really doesn't do much. And so matching for family to family, person to person, this is something that's really great. One of the things on my questionnaire is, what's your energy level like? Are you up hiking Mount Rainier, here in Seattle? You're hiking Mount Rainier every week? Are you on bike rides and you're constantly go, go, go? Or are you guys more couch potatoes? You just kind of like sit down and watch movies. So knowing that stuff is a really important factor. So that's the next one. Prey drive. We already talked about prey drive. Human focus. Okay, so human focus is kind of like a pack. The desire to be with your pack. You'll notice in my test, when my tester moves around the area, what we're looking for is the desire for that puppy to follow them. Do they follow them from area to area to area? Or do they lose interest? Are they over here playing with their toy and they could kind of care less about their human? That's in there, right? That's their pack drive, the desire to be with their pack. This is the difference between, I have two females. I have Lucy and Mango. Mango, high pack drive. If I'm in the bathroom, she's by the bathroom. If I'm in the kitchen, she's by the kitchen. If I'm in the living room, she comes over and she lays in the living room. She does not like stay in one spot. Where I am, she is. Or where my kids are, she is. Okay. Lucy, on the other hand, Lucy has middle pack drive. She'll lay over and do her own thing and chew on her bone. And if I leave, she just kind of stays there. She'll eventually come find me, but it's not like within every fiber of her being to make sure she's right by me, right? So, and then you have low pack drive where, they just kind of do their own thing. They'll come over and they'll get love and stuff like that. It's not like they're not affectionate, but they are okay laying on their mat over, on the side of the wall, or they're okay with you being gone 8 hours, for the day. They can entertain themselves. This is the puppy that's off doing its own thing while we're over here and he's off chewing on a stick and he could care less. He's like, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. Okay. So that's human focus, pack drive. Tenderheartedness is another thing that we test for. The reason we test for tenderheartedness is I have a lot of people that come to me looking for a dog that they can either train as a therapy dog, service dog, or an ESA, stuff like that. And so we test for tenderheartedness because I truly believe, I said this on an interview yesterday, I truly believe that not every dog is meant to be a therapy dog. And somebody might disagree with me, but I believe not every dog is meant to be a therapy dog, just like every human is not meant or capable to work in hospice work, right? Which hospice work, if you're not familiar, is like being with people before they die. Like, it takes a lot of emotion out of you. And so I don't believe that every dog is cut out for that, and not every dog has a desire to be in that environment. So when we test for tenderheartedness, you actually see my tester fall to the ground. And what we do is there's a specific emotions that we make, but we test to see how the dog reacts. In the tenderheartedness test, we essentially test for 4 categories. They're either not, medium, high, or extreme. All right. Not is essentially the dog looks at you and is like, okay, well, you do you. I'm going to be over here playing with my toy. And let me know when you're done with that. And then we'll go on. We'll play. It'll be all right. Medium is essentially the dog is like, are you okay? Like, do you need something? Are you all right? And maybe they'll go off, but they come back and they're like, are you sure you don't need something? Like, I really want to help you. Like, how can I help you? How you'll see this in the test is essentially they come over, they try and lick, they try and console, they try and fix it, they try and fix you, they try and help you. It's really sweet. High tenderheartedness is essentially one next step up. where the dog actually comes and stays with you. Sometimes they'll lay over top of you, which a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, like they're so tenderhearted. This is so sweet. They actually, they have such a deep concern and care for me. But really what we find in a lot of the tenderhearted dogs, highly tenderhearted dogs, is that when they do that, they're actually taking on that personal responsibility. They actually take it on, that energy as their own, and kind of can sink into that same feeling. It becomes overwhelming for them. It's difficult for them to handle. They can actually sink into the same depression that you're, trying to overcome, instead of having them try and pull you out of it like a medium, right? Or even like a knot that's like, come on, like, I don't have time for this. We got to go on my walk. Like, you don't have time to, sit and cry in your covers. Like, get up, let's go, right? And so we test for that. Extreme is essentially that puppy looks at them and is like, you're a crazy person, and I'm going to go hide under the bed until you're over this, whatever this is. I can't handle it. And so it's so good for us to know what those are, because it depends on what type of service work that you're looking for in a dog, will give us really a great understanding of like, okay, which puppies are really great for this and which puppies could never handle this kind of a thing. So those are all stable traits within our evaluation that we test for. Those are stables. Okay. Adjustable traits. Adjustable traits are things that are exactly what they say. They're adjustable, through time. They can become, different through working, through patience, through training, through increased, working with your puppy. All this stuff can be modified and changed. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is confidence level. Now, obviously, I work a program with all of our puppies, increasing their confidence level, empowering them to be more and to do more. But every puppy has a different confidence level. I look at my kids and I'm like, my confidence levels are all over the range. Even though they were raised in the same home, presented the same opportunities, they just have different confidence levels, right? And so the same thing goes as when we're talking about confidence in a pup is, in the low end. So there's low, medium, and high. Low is they're very unsure of their own abilities and beliefs, right? Confidence is their ability to believe in themselves as they approach new situations and circumstances. So on the low end is the fact that they, they're less confident. They're very unsure of themselves. Now, because these are adjustable traits, you can build confidence in a puppy, which is fantastic. Just because they're low confidence doesn't mean they're always going to be low confidence. I've seen a puppy that's gone home to a low confident family, and a month later, they're literally living their best life out on a paddleboard in the middle of the sound, right? And so this isn't like a make or break a decision. It's just, this is us giving our puppies a voice in the beginning. So when they go home, how we can work with them. So that's the low confidence. Middle confidence is a little bit of hesitation or startle to something, but the puppy continues its course and continues to be brave, continues to walk through. High confidence is essentially the world as their oyster. There's nothing that this puppy can't do. This is the puppy when I have them, going over blocks and wood, and they're going so fast and so confident that they trip and they stumble and they fall on their face as they're running over the board, right? So that's confidence level. And again, can be adjusted both negative and positively. So just because a puppy has high confidence doesn't mean you couldn't throw them in a situation that was way over taxing, right? Where they would hit that threshold, that level of this is too much, and all of a sudden break down and become a very unconfident pup. So again, it's making sure we're empowering our dogs. So that's confident level. Nerve strength resilience. So nerve strength resilience throughout the test, as we conduct our test, if we ever have to stop doing something because the puppy gets hiccups, because they yawn, because they go hide, how long are they yawning, hiding, getting the hiccups before they continue on through the course? Those are things that tell us nerve strength resilience. Like, how well do they manage stress? How well do they take something that is that's new or scary or something like that, and how well do they manage it? So a low threshold a low puppy that is rated low in the nerve strength resilience is essentially they stopping all the time. They completely get freaked out, they stop, and they don't come back, right? And so a medium is they stop, they startle, but then within 1, 2, 3 seconds they continue to move forward in the course. And then high nerve strength resilience is like nothing really phases this puppy. This puppy just goes, it just does stuff. Now this is not the same as confidence though. Confidence and nerve strength resilience are two completely different things. And if you have more questions about any of this, you can definitely ask me when we jump on our phone for our puppy picking. But touch tolerance is another one that's really important. Somebody who has kids, this is very important. I've had dogs that are high touch tolerance and not high touch tolerance. My dogs that are high touch tolerance are the dogs that essentially, as my baby is learning to stand up, will stand there and have the baby pull on their ears like this to stand up and balance, and they just chill. They're just like, okay, you're touching me, I'm in heaven. I don't care how you're touching me. It just happens. And so we've done a touch, I guess you could say, conditioning thing since 3 days old. So we've done touch conditioning for a long time, but it's different from having somebody that they trust do the touching and then having somebody else who is a stranger do this evaluation. And so obviously, again, they will have somebody doing it that they don't know. So what we're looking for is we're looking for a puppy that melts right into their arms. We're looking for a puppy that's compliant, like, okay, I will sit here and I will let you do it. And then the other one on the low side is like a puppy who's squirming, like, no, this is too much. I don't want to be here. Get me out of this. Like, no, I don't want to be here. So those are the 3 levels essentially of touch. Sight and sound sensitivity. So sight sensitivity is essentially something that big that happens, right? Like in my program, we'll wave like a bag over their head and we give them different things of sight to see that are strange. But in the test, we'll be popping an umbrella. And we'll be able to see like, okay, how does this work? How does this puppy react to the sight? Now, if a puppy startles and then is like, oh, that was weird. Okay, I'm going to go see what it is. That's in the middle ground, right? A puppy that sees it and is like, oh, okay. And they just keep going off. That's high. And a puppy that's low is like, whoa, like, oh my gosh, like that was really, really freaky, right? And it might take them a little bit of time. So that's sight. Sound sensitivity. This is more common in other breeds, some breeds than others, but sound sensitivity, we will use a popper. It's a popper that they've never seen before. All of the stuff that we use in this test is stuff that that's never been seen before. We want everything to be new, nothing that we've already preconditioned them to act a certain way. But sound sensitivity, obviously, I've been doing loud noise exposures for quite a while now. I bang on kettles and of course they're right next to my kitchen. So they hear the blender and the vacuum and, my husband was in doing some work on one of my kennel toppers the other day and he's running the skill saw and, the nail gun and all this kind of stuff. But we want them to hear a sound that they're not familiar with. And so we will do that in there as well. And we test sound sensitivity. This is like how a puppy reacts if like the Legos crash in the living room, right? If you have kids, having a puppy with like high sound sensitivity might be a little stressful for that dog because every time the Legos crash or the kids bang something or something like that they're going to be running into their kennel because they're afraid, right? So all of these things play a huge part. And then the last one that we do is I actually have a stuffed dog. Some of the dogs don't even recognize the dog, and then we just mark NA on it, like not applicable because they haven't seen it. Some of the puppies see the dog and they're literally on their belly crawling to them. It's super cute, being very submissive to this dog. And then some dogs literally go over and they're jumping on them and licking their mouth and they're like, we're gonna be best friends. I knew we were gonna be best friends, right? Because they're assertive with dogs. And assertive doesn't necessarily mean aggressive. Assertive just means that they have really a lot of friendliness towards dogs. They have a high desire to be around dogs. So those are kind of the things that we rate. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask when we jump on their phone. And I think that is all. I don't think I have anything else for you. So until later, and I hope this was beneficial. You can find us on our Facebook page, which is on the link, and then also our website, which is in the notes comments as well. So again, Cody from Owen-a-Doodle, and yeah, until later.